Hey guys, what's up? It's Uni. So I'm making this video for those of you who want to regain your flexibility. So if you're a dancer, athlete, gymnast, etc., keep watching because there will be some useful tips for everyone. So the new semester is here, and last week I decided to start committing to stretching every single day to regain the flexibility that I lost in 2020. So if you want to see how I went from this to this in 7 days, keep watching. I decided to document the process so I can share with you, and I'll talk you through like my personal stretching routine and what works and what doesn't. So this is day one. I literally don't remember the last time I stretched before this, but I started off with doing whatever movements that my body needed, some stretches to lubricate my joints and just to get my blood flowing. So I mainly wanted to focus on my hamstring and my hip flexibility for a bigger range of motion for ballet, contemporary improvisation, etc. Like, I really don't enjoy feeling tight in my hips because it makes me feel like I can't articulate a movement to my potential. So after I'm warm, I start doing a lot of stretches that target my hamstrings and my hips. So I do a lot of lunges and different types of angles, and repetition is definitely very, very important. I started using my watch to time my stretches in 45-second increments. I found that really, really helpful to keep me motivated and to just keep the whole process going, because usually stretches feel like they last forever and it's like super boring, and it's not good to sit in your stretches for too long. So definitely would recommend setting a timer for yourself. Anyways, first day of stretching, I didn't have any expectation for myself. I just wanted to start because starting is always the hardest part for me. I definitely felt very tight. My ligaments and joints felt unfamiliar. Like, even though, let's say, I can go into the splits, but it doesn't feel good, if you know what I mean. Like, it feels really restricted. So the peak of my flexibility when it comes to stretching is doing oversplits on like the height of chairs. So that's what I did at the very end once I felt warm. Then I stretched a little more standing up just to see where I was at. So this is the middle of the week, and I just got a concussion right before, and the lights hurt my eyes, which is why I kept it off. Pat on the back for motivation, LMAO. Anyways, I typically include a lot of yoga or yoga-related movements into my warm-ups, like pre-stretches, I guess, but also during my stretches. So I find it really helpful to stretch all parts of my body and not just the parts I want to target, like my hamstring and my hips, because our whole body is connected through fascia and all our body parts correlate in some way. And I've learned the hard way that it is a bad idea to go directly into stretching the area that you're targeting. So as I'm going through my stretches, I still try to keep things moving. So at this point, halfway through the week, I already felt a noticeable difference in my flexibility. Everything felt more loose and open. So there is no easy way to get flexible overnight. It is definitely a lot of repetition and consistency. So this is day 7 of stretching. Like I said, my goal was to regain my flexibility, so not exactly get more flexible. So I took steps each day to improve on the amount of repetition that I did and the amount of time. Typically, I would repeat each stretch at least 4 times. I either go by how many pulses I do on each leg or a timer. I'll make sure to warm up and stretch every part of my body before I get to focusing on my hamstring and my lunges. So as I said, with flexibility, consistency is very important. I would say it's number 1. For me, there's a big difference in being able to stretch to a certain point and being able to access that stretch. And I feel like if I don't keep up with my consistency in stretching weekly, daily, I will definitely not be able to access my flexibility to the fullest. What a lot of people don't realize is when you're trying to use your flexibility during a movement or when you're dancing, most of it comes from your muscles. So I feel that the more flexibility you have, the easier it is for your muscles to access that range. So this is pretty much the routine that I established over the week. I start really close to the floor and I do a lot of stretches laying down with my full body relaxed and only accessing and engaging the body part that I'm stretching. I also play around with flexing and pointing my feet while I'm stretching and also rotating it. It gets a lot of the muscles that you typically don't realize it's there. Then I slowly make my way up and off the floor with my stretches and go into my lunges and hamstring stretches. There's a ton of hamstring stretches you can do standing up, but I just personally choose to stay on my knees because it targets my hamstrings more and it's easier to go into the lunge, and I don't enjoy blood rushing down to my head. So definitely do what works for you. The most important thing is just repetition and consistency. So you don't have to stay in a certain stretch for too long, maybe like 30 seconds or so. Just do the other side and repeat. Also, don't forget that you can play with keeping your foot flexed or pointed in like literally any stretch, and it'll give you a deeper stretch. So by the end of the week, it felt much more natural going into oversplits. I would be able to sit my sits bones on the floor pretty much from the start compared to the beginning of the week where it took a good minute before I was able to reach the floor. I still try to keep my body moving while I'm in the oversplits. I lean forward to stretch my hamstrings, and then I sit upright and then lean backwards to open up my hips more. And if you feel any uncomfort or are worried about overextending your knee, you can always clasp both hands under your knee and just pull up while you're stretching. I disconnected my left knee last year, so holding my knees from under gives it that extra support while still allowing me to go into the oversplits.
Thank you so much for watching.
The biggest takeaway for me is consistency. Number one is consistency and repetition and staying motivated. So if you have any questions or if there's anything in here that helped you, leave a comment and like and subscribe for more videos like this. Bye.